Hello my spider friends. Today we are going to be talking about ableism. I am a disabled person and I have experienced ableism. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I know before we've talked about like disabled people problems, but today we're going to be specifically talking about ableism. Now the big difference between like ableism and other forms of discrimination such as racism or homophobia or things like that is that usually ableism comes with a smile or it comes with indifference. Not to say that it doesn't come in the aggressive kind as well, but it's often like hidden. So what I'm going to talk about is a couple of examples of times where I've been discriminated against for being disabled. So we are going to start with the fact that many people, usually members of my family, and this is the same for many disabled people, will just not believe you that you are disabled. I have been told by members of my family, you are not disabled. You are not differently abled. You don't deserve help for being disabled. Members of my own family have told me this. I'm like, well, I am disabled. They're like, no, you're not. And the reason that they have this attitude is because I am not somebody who was born with a disability. I am someone who had an accident and became disabled. So they know me from childhood, from being like very an active person who was very sporty and stuff. And so they literally do not believe me and have, without using the exact words, accused me of faking it. And this is a really, really common thing when you're disabled, and we don't need that because we kind of like do this to ourselves with internalized ableism, but people feel the need to join in. So there's that. I've had people refuse when giving me a lift somewhere to park in the disabled spot despite the fact that I have a disabled badge. It's that simple. So a couple of things from this week. Yesterday, I'm involved with guiding, and I'm a leader, and we had a brownie meeting, and it's last week was our first one back since Corona. We've been doing Zoom, and this was our first like in-person brownie meeting. And the location that was selected was in a park near this bandstand. And because of my current injury, I couldn't use my normal mobility device, which is a roller, so I had to have my mum push me in a wheelchair. And that was really difficult because this kind of terrain where we were is not designed for wheelchair use, but at least there was a path. So this week, moved the location, same park but a different place in the park, but the place that it was selected was a gravel car park plus field, which would not use my roller on, let alone the wheelchair. So basically I had to struggle severely for about 30 minutes before I was finally told where I could go sit down, which, trust me, is repeating on me today. I'm in absolute agony from having to stand for so long. I really can't stand for very long, and I was made to. And then we had to like walk across this big field, which I struggled every single step. And then I was told that next week they're actually going on a nature ramble, so I can't go. It's as simple as that. I can't walk through a wooded area that doesn't have a path, so I could use like my roller tour. Not that I could use that right now because of my shoulder injury, so I literally can't come. There was no consideration made for the fact that I'm one of the other leaders and I'm disabled. It's literally a thing of like, well, this is what we're doing and it's tough that you can't come. And I was told, like, so, you know, the week after that, they've got a yoga guy coming in. And they were like, well, you might as well not bother coming to that as well. I was like, well, I can come and, like, be a supervisor. I can, like, watch the girls. And then, I know if you're disabled, you already know what was said to me. I was told, well, you haven't tried yoga. Yoga will do a world of good for you. And I said, no, it won't. Oh, yes, it will. Yeah, no, you're not trying hard enough. You need to try yoga. It'll do wonders for your back. I have a spinal injury and I have spinal osteoarthritis. I have arthritis in my entire body, but particularly in my spine. And I was injured in my spine, literally broken vertebrae. And despite me saying, no, yoga would be incredibly bad for me, it's just a thing of like, no, you're not trying hard enough. Like, imagine, like, you'd have, like, your leg cut off, and then to be told, well, you can't walk. You're just not trying hard enough. It's like, you only got one leg. This happens all the time. All the time. And I was getting very, very close to snapping at the person who was speaking to me in that manner, because it's such a frustrating thing. Like, I've been told by complete strangers, like, no, you need to do yoga. Yoga will completely fix you. Yoga will not heal my severe spinal arthritis. It will not. It will also not put my vertebrae back together, because not only did I break the vertebra, one of them was chipped. Like, a piece of my vertebrae broke off. That's not going to come back magically on its own because I'm doing downward facing dog. No. People just don't seem to be willing to listen to what the actual disabled person has to say about their own body. Like, suddenly people become doctors. Today, there was another today. Me and my mum went down to the town centre, and we stopped at the tombola outside the charity shop, and we know the lady who was running it. She's like one of our neighbours. So we were getting our tombola tickets and all that jazz, and she said to me, when that shoulder's better, you need to be pushing your mum in that wheelchair. I was like, what? I was like, you do know I'm disabled, don't you? Like, I can't, like, what? And they're like, no, once you get out of that wheelchair, once your shoulder's better, that's it, you need to be pushing your mum. I'm like, but I'm disabled and my mum's not disabled. And it's because I'm young, and people have a tendency to not believe young people when they're disabled. This is like, they take a look at you and go, well, you're young, so you should be fine. And despite me trying to tell this lady, who was otherwise a very nice lady, you know, this ableism was coming with a big smile. Like, I am disabled. I will be disabled for the rest of my life. Like, there's no fixing the problems that I have. They're only going to get worse over time. All I can do is manage the pain. And I certainly could not be pushing my mum around in a wheelchair. My mum doesn't even need a wheelchair. My mum's perfectly fine. Her knee's bothering her a little bit because she's also got arthritis, but it's nowhere the level of that my knees are. My knees are 10 times worse than my mother's, because I used to be so sporty, because I used to be a professional dancer. I've wrecked my body, and the arthritis that is already like present in my body, just, it makes it worse. So yeah, I've had someone literally tell a disabled person, you need to get out of the wheelchair and push your mother because your mother's older than you. Like, honestly, it absolutely beggars belief. There's this happens so frequently. There's usually ableism comes in forms like we didn't consider this or we didn't consider that. I went with my friend to stay somewhere over a bank holiday weekend at a hotel, and we checked the hotel website, and the hotel website said all of our rooms are accessible. We were like, brilliant. We booked it online, so we went through the booking process, and I said to him, make sure that there's like if there's any boxes or anything to tick that it's disabled, so priority access type thing. But there was nothing to tick. There was no like thing to say like we need an accessible room. And we booked it, and we got there, and we think the hotel. They said, right, we'll put you on the first floor, but there's no lift. And we're like, what? It said all the rooms are accessible. He said, oh yeah, they are on the ground floor, but not on the first floor. And for Americans watching in England and Europe, it's not, the first floor isn't the ground floor. The ground floor is called the ground floor, and then it's first floor. So yeah, we were we were looking at this woman, and we were like, I use a mobility device, I can't go upstairs. You'll have to put us in a ground floor room. She was like, well, when you booked it, you should have said that you needed accessibility. So there wasn't something on the website to say that we needed accessibility, besides the fact that it says, and we pulled it up and we were showing it like, all rooms are accessible. All rooms, not ground floor rooms, all rooms. So after a great bit of fuss was made, they eventually agreed to switch us to a ground floor room, but they made it very clear that this was a massive inconvenience for them. I was like, oh, thank you. I'm really sorry to disconvenience you by having to put me in a room because I can't physically go upstairs. Like, I can do a step. I can do like a step or two. If I'm doing staircases, then I need to be able to take a very long time if there's like no other option. Like if I've gone to someone's house and I need the toilet and they've only got an upstairs toilet, there's no choice in the matter. I've got to go up those stairs. But at least in someone's house, I can take my time and everything like that. We were talking about a hotel. There was no way I was going to be able to get up the stairs and have, like, my friend was with me, like, drag my roller top up and down the stairs every time we wanted to go somewhere. Like, no, that's just not practical. Like, honestly, it's so frustrating. It really, really is. And I know other disabled people feel exactly the same way. So if you are not a disabled person, please don't start giving unsolicited medical advice. We don't want it. Thanks very much.